Ohio State playing host to Penn State here on Saturday night. I'm Nathan Baird from cleveland.com along with Stephen Means. These are our game time decisions, the keys to the game, the coaching decisions that are going to have to be made that will determine the outcome of this game potentially. Stephen, what is your game time decision for OSU against PSU?
Yeah, earlier this week we did a matchups video and you talked about the secondary versus Ohio State's, versus Penn State's wide receiver group, especially Jahan Dotson. I think Denzel Burke and his progression over the second half of the season is one of the most interesting things about this defense because he was really good the first half of the season, but they also did not play a single good receiver, so it allowed him to be good. And pretty much going forward, he's going to play at least one elite receiver every week, and they don't follow, but he's going to be on these receivers enough to get a real indication of how good he actually is as a true freshman, and should we be putting him in freshman All-American conversations. Last week it was Ty Freifogel. He held him to 2 targets, 1 catch for 30 yards, which I'm pretty sure was like a short pass that he took for a little bit of yardage. So he passed that test. This week it's going to be Jahan Dotson. Obviously David Bell is coming down the line, but this week we're just going to focus on Jahan Dotson. Dotson basically opened the door for why Shaun Wade was not a first-round draft pick, and then everybody else just walked through it after that. This is kind of – every week is now prove-it week for Denzel Burke, and this is another step in that direction. So, yes, the secondary, but I want to see when Denzel Burke lines up against Jahan Dotson, what happens.
Yeah, I would put Dotson and Bell in a different category than Freifogel, and I think you're right that this is a big test for Burke. By the way, we asked him about it today here at practice, or Wednesday night at practice, and he said, yeah, he's a pretty good receiver, but nothing I can't handle, which is exactly what you expect Denzel Burke to say it's just keeping in line with his personality here that he's played with as a freshman is working out for him. I'm going to kind of talk about a different side of the ball. This is a different aspect of Penn State's defense and what it has to do against Ohio State. They're ranked, Penn State, in the middle of the conference, stopping the run. I think it's 3.58 yards per carry, kind of middle of the pack. It was a little bit lower, actually, until last week. Illinois ran the ball 67 times, put up 357 yards, so they're getting 5.3 a carry. Penn State's defense in the secondary is solid. They've got a lot of guys back there that could play. They got guys who could play at Ohio State, which you can't say about every opponent that Ohio State's played. Certainly can't say it about the guys that teams they've been playing for the last 4 or 5 weeks. But whether it's Brisker, Joey Porter Jr., they've got multiple guys at the back end of this defense that can hang with Ohio State. So I'm really more concerned about what's going on up front. Penn State's got to find a way. You're not going to make Ohio State one-dimensional, just the way you're not going to same way you're not going to shut down the passing game. But you can't let Ohio State run all over you and have any chance, I think, to win this game. And you certainly can't let them do it at the way that Illinois was doing it last week, where they just sort of James Franklin was trying to emphasize the fact that they only gave up 10 points in that game, which point taken, but Ohio State's going to capitalize in a different way. You start letting them get open and run loose on you like that. So I think they've got to find a way to control the line of scrimmage, put Ohio State – again, you're not going to shut them down, but you've got to find a way to make them drive for points. You can't let them get points at will. Go back to week 1, and I know Ohio State's a very different team than it was in week 1, but Minnesota's got a chance to win that game if it finds a way just to eliminate explosive plays, both in the run game and the pass game. They couldn't do that if they just made Ohio State have to drive continually. Frankly, more like what Oregon did a week later. You saw what the result was. I know this is a different team with Ohio State right now, but at some point, someone is going to make them have to work for their points more. So it's both a key for Penn State, potentially trying to pull an upset, but I think it's a key for Ohio State to get that challenge again and then overcome it, learn from it, grow from it, whatever, because there are tougher challenges coming down the road. Get the text, 614-350-3315. That's where we'll be sending pregame intel, who's warming up, what's going on, what we're seeing before the game, and what we're doing in-game analysis will be coming there, too, from Buckeye Talk.